Hi, welcome to GRVO TV, G's Reviews, Views and Opinions. I'm just going to do a quick video, and I've done these before for different cameras, and I just find this a useful way of getting cheap macro. Now, I like a little bit of macro, but I've never done enough of it to invest in a macro lens, a dedicated macro lens, which, to be honest, people say, yeah, they can be good for portraits and that, but generally macro lenses are good for one thing, and that's macro. I'm sure they are good for other stuff as well, but you know, as a rule, a macro, you know, it's called a macro lens for a reason, let's face it. Now, I've never felt the need to want to carry an extra macro lens around, pay out 300, 400, whatever pounds, dollars for a dedicated macro lens, which I'm going to use rarely. If you're shooting macro a hell of a lot and it's your number one passion, and that's the thing, you know, you like taking pictures of little bugs and things all the time, then yep, buy a macro lens. But for the majority of us, we like to dabble, don't we, and do the odd macro shot, perhaps a plant, a leaf, a bug, whatever, and in my case, pictures of my bike. You know, we do like to play with it, and there are cheap alternatives to doing it, and I've chosen this setup particularly for several reasons. Now, firstly, the first reason is because it's cheap. Now, the second reason is because I've got this lens. Now, you can do it for all different lenses. You can do it for zoom lenses, whatever, but this is a particularly nice lens. It's the 45mm Olympus 1.8 prime lens on the micro 4/3 sensor, which gives you an equivalent of like a 90mm macro. Now, the close focusing on this lens isn't particularly fantastic, and all you need to do is know the limitations of your equipment. Now, I've bought sets. Now, the product, first of all, is this little thing, and all it is it's called a close-up lens. That's all it is. This is a KOOD one, KOOD, and it's a number 4, and you just need to get the right one that fits your lens. This is a 37mm, little dinky one. You can buy these in sets, and they go from number 1, 2, 4, 10, or 2, 4, 6, 10, or 8, 10, something like that. Now, over time, I've done different experimentation and worked out the ones that I need. So I've just got the number 4, and I've also ordered the number 2, but it hasn't come yet. Now, the reason for that is when you get to the number 10, I think it's just too much, and you start to get into issues when you're screwing things on the front of your lens. You can stack them, but I don't recommend it. So the number 4 seems to move the focus sort of 4 times closer, in my opinion. Now, what you need to remember as well, when you're fitting these, your depth of field becomes really shallow, and I've tried to show that with the pictures I'm going to throw up at the end of this of just little details on my bike, and you will see that the depth of field is really shallow. So it's very difficult to shoot like this lens at 1.8 because your depth of field becomes too shallow, although it is nice for light gathering when you're doing macro if you haven't got an external light, and an LED light is probably a good investment. Just a little LED light would be fine for this. So we're just in aperture priority, and we're just going to bung this on. Let's go for just like F2 or something like that. Now I'm going to try and focus on this chap here, who is a knight. No, we're not there yet. Okay, so that's the distance about there. Let me just... Not particularly close, and it's not a macro shot, you know, it's not a particularly good lens for macro this, but let's put that on and then see how we do. Not close enough. Right. Oh, now I'm able to focus now. We're obviously about half the distance. It's going a bit tighter. You can go even closer if you get like say a number 6 or 8 or 10 of these, but what you don't want to do is go too mad, because then you do come into issues, and you'll see by these pictures the background is completely gone. The depth of field is so much narrower. You know, you really want to be shooting, you know, f8, around f8 and above really for these sorts of macro shots anyway. That's the way I work it. But just to demonstrate that you can get cheap macro for, I think this cost me £4.50, and I've ordered the second one for £4. I've got 2 of these now, which has cost me less than £10, and it gives me not stunning one-to-one macro that you're going to, you know, win competitions with necessarily, but it gives you a really good usable macro that you can just do now and again. If you're out and about and you see something, you just pop that on your lens and away you go. It's just a cheap alternative, and for me it works really well. So this has been GRVO TV, G's Reviews, Views and Opinions. I'll see you soon. Bye.